What if the secret to visibly younger, more radiant skin wasn't locked inside a $200 serum, but sitting quietly in your fruit bowl this entire time? Most people spend years and small fortunes chasing retinol, peptides, and in-office treatments, while completely overlooking something dermatologists are now studying in randomized, peer-reviewed clinical trials: fruit. Not fruit extract capsules, not powders. Actual, whole fruit, eaten the way humans have eaten it for thousands of years. Here's the disconnect most people never stop to question. We've been taught that skin aging is something you fight from the outside in, with creams, lasers, and injections. But a growing body of research out of universities and dermatology journals around the world is proving something different. Some of the most measurable, clinically documented improvements in skin elasticity, collagen density, and UV resistance are coming from what people put on their plate, not what they put on their face. This isn't new information dressed up as a trend. Cultures from the Mediterranean to the Himalayas to the Amazon basin have been eating these fruits for their skin and vitality for centuries, long before anyone had a cutometer to measure elasticity or a lab to measure collagen density in a skin biopsy. What's changed is that modern dermatology has finally caught up, running actual randomized controlled trials, taking actual skin samples, and publishing actual peer-reviewed results in journals like the Journal of Investigative Dermatology and the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology. And today, I'm going to walk you through 11 of them. Stick around, because number 11 on this list is backed by a study so new it was published this past December, and it might be the single easiest skin habit you'll ever adopt. And number 6 is something you've probably eaten 1,000 times without knowing it's been protecting Mediterranean skin from sun damage for over 2,000 years. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we post new videos every week connecting traditional wisdom with modern research, so you can make smarter choices about your health and how you age. So, let's get into it. Here are 11 fruits that help aging skin glow naturally, ranked from remarkable to absolutely essential. 1. Strawberry. Let's start with the fruit almost nobody thinks of as skin medicine because it's simply too familiar. Strawberries have been cultivated across the temperate world for centuries, and long before anyone understood antioxidants, European folk traditions used mashed strawberries on the skin to calm redness and irritation. Turns out that instinct wasn't far off. Strawberries are one of the richest food sources of vitamin C, and they're loaded with anthocyanins, the same pigment compounds that give the fruit its deep red color, primarily pelargonidin and cyanidin glycosides. Researchers at the Università Politecnica delle Marche in Italy have run a series of laboratory studies exposing human dermal fibroblasts, the cells responsible for producing collagen, to oxidative stress from UVA radiation and hydrogen peroxide. When those cells were pre-treated with polyphenol-rich strawberry extract, they showed measurably less DNA damage, less lipid peroxidation, and improved mitochondrial function compared to untreated cells. The traditional use here is refreshingly simple. Fresh, unprocessed strawberries eaten in season deliver both the vitamin C and the anthocyanins intact, since heat and prolonged storage degrade both compounds. A cup a day as a snack, mixed into breakfast, or blended fresh, is enough to matter. There's something worth sitting with here. The plant sitting in the produce aisle that everyone assumes is just a sweet treat for kids turns out to be quietly doing real, measurable work at the cellular level. Sometimes the most overlooked things are overlooked simply because they're too familiar to take seriously. 2. Papaya, the fruit that digests dead skin from the inside. Papaya originated in Central America, but has been woven into traditional medicine systems across Southeast Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean for generations, most often as a wound-healing remedy. Traditional healers would mash unripe papaya pulp directly onto cuts, burns, and skin ulcers, and modern lab research has actually validated why that worked. Papaya contains papain, a proteolytic enzyme that breaks down damaged tissue, alongside a concentrated mix of antioxidant carotenoids, including lycopene, beta-cryptoxanthin, and beta-carotene, plus a substantial amount of vitamin C. Multiple published studies on unripe papaya extract applied to wound models found it suppressed excessive inflammation and increased the activity of the body's own antioxidant enzymes, catalase and superoxide dismutase, which help control oxidative damage during tissue repair. Separate research on papaya leaf extract has shown it can neutralize reactive oxygen species and suppress the collagen-degrading enzymes activated by UV exposure. For traditional and practical use, fresh ripe papaya, eaten regularly, delivers the vitamin C and carotenoid support internally, while the topical, mashed pulp application remains a documented traditional practice for minor skin irritation. What papaya really represents is a quiet reminder that the enzyme farmers have used for generations to tenderize meat is the same enzyme quietly supporting the skin's own repair processes from within. 3. Blueberry, the tiny fruit with an outsized UV shield. Blueberries are native to North America and were foraged by indigenous peoples for centuries, often specifically for their deep pigment, which was recognized as unusually potent even without modern chemistry to explain why. That pigment comes from anthocyanins, specifically cyanidin-3-glucoside, petunidin-3-glucoside, malvidin-3-glucoside, and delphinidin-3-glucoside, compounds concentrated most heavily in wild bog blueberry varieties. A study published in the journal Photochemistry and Photobiology took anthocyanin-rich extract from bog blueberries and applied it directly to human dermal fibroblasts that had been irradiated with UVB light. The results showed the extract dampened UVB-triggered collagen destruction and reduced inflammatory signaling through the same molecular pathways, NF-kappa B and MAPK, that drive visible photoaging. In plain terms, the pigment in the berry appears to interrupt the exact chemical chain reaction that breaks down collagen after sun exposure. Practically, a daily handful of fresh or frozen blueberries works just as well, since freezing doesn't meaningfully degrade the anthocyanin content. There's a pattern worth noticing across nature here. The deepest colored fruits tend to carry the deepest protection, almost as if the plant world color codes its own medicine for anyone willing to pay attention. 4. Grape. Grapes have been cultivated across the Mediterranean and Middle East for millennia, central not just to food, but to entire cultures built around wine. It was actually the search to explain the so-called French paradox, lower rates of heart disease in a population eating a rich diet, that first pointed researchers toward resveratrol, a compound concentrated in grape skins. Since then, attention has expanded to the skin itself. Grapes and their seeds are rich in resveratrol and proanthocyanidins, potent antioxidants that interfere with the exact signaling and inflammatory pathways UV radiation activates in skin. A placebo-controlled, double-blind clinical study evaluated a resveratrol and procyanidin dietary supplement against skin changes associated with both chronological and sun-driven aging, and found measurable improvements in the treated group compared to placebo over the study period. Separate research has shown grapeseed proanthocyanidins protect against UVB-induced oxidative stress in skin cells by preserving the body's own antioxidant enzyme activity. The traditional and practical use is straightforward. Eat whole grapes with the skin and seeds where possible, since juice alone strips out much of the proanthocyanidin content concentrated in those parts. It's worth noticing that the part of the grape most people spit out, or that gets filtered out of juice entirely, is exactly where the research keeps finding the value. Sometimes what looks like a flaw to discard is actually the whole point. 5. Mango, the tropical fruit with a dosage secret. Mango has been cultivated in South Asia for thousands of years and carries the nickname King of Fruits across the cultures that first grew it, tied historically to Ayurvedic tradition for supporting skin and vitality. Mangoes are rich in beta-carotene, along with phenolic acids like gallic acid and chlorogenic acid, compounds researchers believe offer oxidative defense and photoprotection to skin. Here's where the science gets genuinely interesting and honestly more credible for it. A randomized clinical trial out of the University of California, Davis, gave postmenopausal women either 85 grams or 250 grams of Atolfo mango daily for 16 weeks and measured facial wrinkles using high-resolution imaging. The group eating the smaller, 85-gram portion showed a significant decrease in deep wrinkle severity at both the 8 and 16-week marks. But the group eating the larger portion did not see the same benefit and, in fact, trended towards slightly more wrinkling, a finding the researchers linked to the higher sugar intake in that group, potentially contributing to glycation, a process where excess sugar molecules bind to and stiffen collagen fibers. The practical takeaway is refreshingly specific. Roughly half a cup of mango daily appears to be the sweet spot, not a giant bowl of it. Nature, and this study in particular, keeps teaching the same lesson modern nutrition science relearns again and again. More is not automatically better. 6. Tomato. Botanically, the tomato is a fruit, and it has been a culinary cornerstone across the Mediterranean basin for centuries, almost always prepared cooked and paired with olive oil. That specific combination, it turns out, was not just a matter of taste. Tomatoes are the primary dietary source of lycopene, a carotenoid antioxidant that becomes significantly more bioavailable to the body when the tomato is cooked and consumed with a source of fat, exactly the traditional preparation. 2 separate human randomized controlled trials, one published in the Journal of Nutrition in 2001 and a follow-up published in the British Journal of Dermatology roughly a decade later, had participants consume tomato paste with olive oil daily for 10 to 12 weeks. Both studies found the same result from 2 independent research teams. UV-induced skin redness dropped substantially, by up to 40% in the first study, and skin biopsies in the second study showed the tomato paste group had reduced UV-triggered activity of MMP1, the enzyme that breaks down collagen after sun exposure, along with better preservation of fibrillin-1, a protein that maintains the skin's elastic structure. The traditional preparation is the scientifically optimal one. Cooked tomato with olive oil, the exact pairing found in Mediterranean cuisine for generations, delivers the most usable lycopene. It's a quiet reminder that what looked like peasant food to outside observers was, in fact, a remarkably sophisticated piece of preventive medicine. If this is already changing the way you look at your grocery list, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps this video reach more people looking for real, research-backed ways to age well. And if you haven't subscribed to Home Service yet, now's a good time, because we're just getting to the fruits most people have never even considered for their skin. Let's keep going. 7. Goji berry. 1,400 years of skin wisdom from the Himalayas. Goji berries, or Lycium barbarum, have been used in Chinese herbal medicine since roughly 100 AD, referenced in some of the earliest surviving Chinese medical texts, and are still grown today across the highlands of northwest China, Mongolia, and Tibet. They're often labeled a modern superfood trend, but the traditional record here stretches back nearly 2,000 years. The fruit is unusually dense in Lycium barbarum polysaccharides, along with carotenoids like zeaxanthin and a range of phenolic compounds. Comparative antioxidant testing has found goji berries carry a higher measured antioxidant capacity than kiwifruit, raspberry, apple, or orange. On the skin specifically, research on the isolated polysaccharide fraction from goji berries found it protected against epidermal thickening and the fragmentation of collagen fibers in the dermis following UV radiation exposure, effects that were measurable in laboratory skin models. The traditional and still practical use is dried goji berries, eaten as a snack or steeped as tea. Exactly the preparation used in Chinese herbal practice for centuries. What's remarkable here isn't just the antioxidant profile, it's that a fruit valued in a Himalayan medical tradition nearly 2 millennia old is now being explained, compound by 21st century biochemistry that had no idea it was catching up to something already known. 8. Acai berry. Long before acai bowls appeared on smoothie shop menus worldwide, the acai palm's berries were a dietary and medicinal staple for indigenous communities across the Amazon basin in Brazil, harvested from wild-growing palms as a core part of the traditional diet. The fruit is dense in anthocyanins, including cyanidin and malvidin derivatives, alongside a broad spread of polyphenols and vitamins A, C, and E. A laboratory study specifically testing acai fruit extract on mouse fibroblast cells exposed to UVA radiation found that pre-treatment with the extract significantly protected the cells from oxidative stress, reducing reactive oxygen species production, lipid peroxidation, and depletion of the cell's internal glutathione, one of the body's key antioxidant defenses. Other research has shown acai extract increases fibroblast activity, the cell type directly responsible for producing new collagen. The practical use matters more than the marketing here. Unsweetened acai pulp or powder delivers these compounds, while many commercial acai bowls are loaded with added sugar and juice that dilute the actual benefit. It's worth remembering that acai's superfood reputation isn't something a marketing team invented. It's something that shows up, compound by compound, under a microscope in a fibroblast culture. 9. Avocado, the fruit that rewrote its own reputation. Avocado originated in Mesoamerica, where it was cultivated and valued for thousands of years, long before it spent several decades being unfairly dismissed in Western nutrition circles simply for being high in fat. Nutrition science has since completely reversed that judgment, and dermatology research is now doing the same. Avocados are rich in monounsaturated fats, carotenoids, and phenolic compounds. A 2022 randomized controlled pilot study published in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology had 39 women eat one fresh avocado daily for 8 weeks, while a comparison group continued their normal diet. Using a cutometer, a device that measures skin's physical elasticity and firmness, researchers found the avocado group showed a significant increase in forehead skin firmness and elasticity compared to baseline, an improvement not seen in the group that made no dietary change. The practical use is about as simple as it gets: half to a whole avocado daily, eaten as it naturally comes, not processed or refined. What makes this one land differently is the reversal itself. The exact fat content that once got avocado dismissed as unhealthy is now being measured in a dermatology lab for what it does to the physical structure of skin. 10. Pomegranate, the fruit ancient cultures called eternal. Pomegranate has carried symbolic weight across Persian, Greek, and broader Mediterranean traditions for thousands of years, repeatedly associated with vitality, and, in more than one ancient culture, described as a symbol of eternal life. It turns out that reputation has genuine biology behind it. Pomegranate is rich in elagitannins, punicolagens, and punicic acid, a distinct combination of compounds concentrated in both the juice and the seeds. This is one of the most thoroughly studied fruits on this entire list. A randomized controlled trial found that daily pomegranate extract and juice consumption increased women's resistance to UVB-induced skin redness over the course of the study. Separately, an 8-week, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial of a fermented pomegranate extract found measurable increases in skin hydration, elasticity, brightness, and collagen density compared to placebo. And at the laboratory level, pomegranate-derived compounds have repeatedly been shown to inhibit MMP1, the specific enzyme responsible for breaking down collagen fibers after UV exposure, essentially blocking one of the main mechanisms of visible skin aging at its source. Practically, fresh pomegranate seeds called arils, or unsweetened pomegranate juice consumed daily, reflects the doses used across these studies. It's hard not to notice the pattern. Ancient cultures didn't have a word for Collagen or MMP1, but they were watching real, repeatable biology closely enough to call this fruit eternal, long before anyone could explain why. 11. Kiwi, the fruit that just rewrote the science of collagen. And here we are, at the fruit I saved for last, because the research behind it is the newest and most direct on this entire list. Kiwifruit actually originated in China, where it was historically known as the Chinese gooseberry, before New Zealand growers later developed and popularized the varieties eaten globally today. What makes kiwi remarkable is its exceptionally high vitamin C content, and in December of last year, researchers at the University of Otago in New Zealand published a study in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology that did something no prior study on this list had done quite so directly. They didn't just measure surface-level skin appearance, they measured the skin tissue itself. 24 healthy adults ate 2 vitamin C-rich sun-gold kiwi fruit daily, providing roughly 250 milligrams of vitamin C for 8 weeks. Researchers then collected actual skin samples and found that rising vitamin C levels in the blood translated directly into rising vitamin C concentrations inside the skin's dermal and epidermal layers. And critically, that increase correlated with measurable increases in skin thickness, a direct marker of collagen production, along with faster renewal of the outer epidermal layer. This is one of the first studies to connect a specific dietary change directly to measurable structural changes inside human skin tissue, not just a photograph of the surface. The lead researcher noted that other high vitamin C foods, like citrus, berries, and leafy vegetables, would likely offer a similar benefit, as long as intake reaches somewhere around 200 milligrams a day. Practically, 2 kiwi fruit a day is the exact protocol the study used, and it may be the simplest, most literal translation of "eat your fruit for your skin" that science has ever managed to prove directly, inside the skin itself. If you've made it this far, here's what's worth carrying with you. No single fruit on this list is going to transform your skin overnight, and anyone who tells you otherwise is selling something. But what's genuinely remarkable is the pattern. Independent research teams in different countries, using different methods, studying completely different fruits, keep arriving at the same underlying conclusion. What you eat shows up, measurably, in the structure of your skin. Not eventually, in some vague, hard-to-verify way, but in randomized trials, in skin biopsies, in cutometer readings, in numbers you can actually read in a peer-reviewed journal. These 11 fruits aren't a miracle list. They're a starting point. Add 1 or 2 of them into your daily routine, consistently, the same way the people in these studies did, for 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, not 8 days. That's where the real, sustained change happens. If this video changed the way you think about your next grocery run, smash that like button and drop a comment telling me which fruit on this list surprised you most. I read every single one, and if you haven't subscribed to Home Service yet, hit that button and ring the bell, because we're connecting ancient wisdom with modern research every single week, and I'd love to have you along for it. See you in the next one.